What's up YouTube? It's No More Op for it, another gear review video for you. As you can probably tell from the intro, this one is on Streamlight's TLR-2 weapon mounted flashlight and laser combination. It's one of my favorite pieces of gear, quite honestly. This is going to be a thorough review, but there's a lot of cool stuff on here I think you guys will really benefit from watching, especially if you're in the market for a weapon mounted light such as this. I'm going to break it down in a couple different points. We're going to go over specs. I'm going to talk about price right after this. I'm going to show some shooting during the daytime, and I'm going to show you the lights and lasers capability in low light settings. We're not actually going to have any video in shooting at nighttime. And then also just some general talking points. So before I get into specs, again, I wanted to say about price. You can find this between $200 to $300, maybe under $200 if you're lucky, but that is the general price. This is not the strobe model. I've had this for quite some time. I may have said that already, but it's a great light for $200. I think that's about what I got it for. It's definitely worth it, because you don't want to put a cheap light on your gun because, well, again, it's connected to a gun. This is a Springfield 45 compact. And the gun can rattle a little bit. So you definitely want to put a quality light on your gun. Let's get into specs. So first area I want to get into is just talking a little bit about the technical details. This gun is safe. This is a Springfield XD 45 ACP. This is a subcompact model. And this gun is actually my home defense gun. That tells you something right there, what I think about the gun itself, and also what I think about the laser. If my life or the life of my family members is threatened, the Streamlight and the Springfield XD are what I'm reaching for and what I'm counting on to defend myself and my loved ones. Wanted to get to the technical points first, so I just want to kind of go through some of the technical details. This is anodized aircraft aluminum. It weighs, what's it weigh? About 4.72 ounces. That's including the batteries. The light itself is one of those C4 LEDs, so you can expect about, I think the average, lifespan of those is about 50,000 hours plus. So, the light's probably going to outlive you. But it's 135 lumen light, which is very bright. And this model, this is not the TLR-2S. This model does not have a strobe. I've had this one for quite some time before they even had the strobe model. I do have a TLR-1 that's the strobe. I'll throw that in later. I have that actually mounted on my AR. So I will throw that in. What else? The laser, the runtime with the laser on, the laser only, is about 45 hours, over 45 hours. The runtime with both the flashlight and the laser is around 2.5 hours. So it takes CR123A batteries. It takes 2 of them. So those are very easy batteries to get. They're not that expensive. I've had this Streamlight for over 2 years, taken it on numerous trips with me mounted on this gun and some others, because this does mount on a few different platforms. It comes with adapters to fit on multiple different types of guns. You can fit it on the front of handguns that have accessory rails. You can fit it on AR Picatinny 1913 rails. And there's a few other ones. I think there's like a Smith & Wesson one that's specific to them. The Streamlight itself, one thing that definitely like about it is it's made in Eagleville, PA. Got to support that shit all day. Great state of Pennsylvania. It's a very fine piece of machinery. It's not cheaply put together like some other lower end lights out there. And if you're mounting a light on your gun, that's somewhere you don't want to skimp. You got the recoil, especially being on a 45. It's got some recoil to it. It's a compact 45 with polymer frame. It's got recoil, no way around it. And you don't want to mount something that's going to rattle off or get its housing shaken loose. I've had the laser on here. I zeroed it when I first got it. I've shot probably at least 500 rounds with the Streamlight attached to it. It still holds at 0. I can take it off and put it back on and it hasn't lost its 0. So the housing on here is extremely durable. You know, it stood up to a lot of firing. Obviously being attached to a 45 is going to shake some lesser lights, or lasers I should say, off of their 0. So it's definitely a high quality light. Again, 135 lumens. The laser can be seen during the day. Obviously, if you're in really bright conditions, depending on, you know, if you're really out in the open, it may be harder to see, but I've used this outside during the day. I will show you that. And I'm also going to attempt to show you that, just how bright this setup is in low light and in complete darkness. It's going to be hard to film the darkness part just because my camera is not designed for filming low light or darkness, but I'll do the best I can with that. Next part I wanted to get into was just how the Streamlight TLR-2 functions. And I'm going to get this close up here for you so you can see. This little selector right here selects between, right now, the furthest left setting, looking at it from the bottom. The furthest left is laser only, center is flashlight only, and the farthest right setting is flashlight and laser. These two toggles right here are for momentary on and hold on. So with just a little touch, you get momentary on with whatever setting you have selected. Right now I have the laser and lights setting selected. You probably can't see the laser because it's so bright, so I'll show you that one. You can see the laser down there right over the period after the yes. And then the other setting obviously is the hold setting. You press it up depending on what side you're looking at from, but it'll lock into place and the light or laser or both will stay on that setting until you turn it off. The windage and elevation for the laser is located with two places basically that need to be adjusted by a supplied Allen wrench. It's here and right here. It's very easy to do that. Don't even need the instruction manual. Obviously it's pretty simple to figure out. Windage and elevation, you know, take it to the range and see where you're hitting. Like I said previously, you know, it's a high quality material. It's shockproof, it's dustproof, strong aluminum body, aircraft aluminum. And you know, since I got the 0 to be at the distance I want it to be with the laser, I haven't had any misses, or I should say any changes from 0. I'll show you in a little bit. You know, where you aim, you pull the trigger is where the bullet's going to go, and you're going to have a hole there. So it's definitely an accurate laser, and it does hold its 0 once you set it, even on a 45 ACP. The mounting of the laser itself is very simple to do. You just make sure you have the right adapter piece on the Streamlight, and you can see here that this piece basically just slides right into the accessory rail on the firearm. How I usually like to do it is just pull that over. You'll feel it audibly click there. You'll also hear it. And then you just tighten this right here. One of the good things about, you know, not needing really a tool to do this, you can tighten it with your hand and it'll still be on there pretty tight, but also be able to remove it with your hand. But, you know, just to be safe, I usually like to have it as tight on there as I can. If I have to take it off for whatever reason, you know, there's definitely enough things that you can fit. Even just a quarter right into that little notch is sufficient to get it out. And actually I found that's one of the better things, even actually better than a screwdriver to tighten and loosen. Wanted to talk about design in relation to the firearm. I've got big hands, and I really don't have any problem accessing the trigger guard unless I really try to get my finger out there. It does not obstruct my finger from getting into the trigger guard, so you're not going to be trying to reach for the trigger and fumble your finger on the toggle switch. When you have it on in the lock position, at least for me as a a right-handed shooter, it's totally clear. You know, I really have to reach my finger down in an unnatural position to hit that switch. And even the momentary on, when it is in that momentary position, obviously, you know, when you have the momentary switch on, you're going to be ready to fire, or in at least a ready position that if you have to fire, you can move your finger down there quickly, and there really isn't any obstruction there. So right now I've got the grip on the gun as I normally would. Finger is outside of the trigger guard. I usually activate the switches with my weak hand thumb. So I've got it right now in the hold position. Obviously no obstruction there. If I was going to activate the momentary on, obviously this toggle then comes up. But even still, from where I hold my trigger in a safe, where I hold my finger in a safe position outside of the trigger guard, it's very easy to transition down right to the trigger without any obstruction from the toggle switch. So here I have Trigger Happy Target Company's silhouette targeting system. This is their original targeting system. It's basically an anatomical target. It's got an overlay of the organ positioning, basically, of a human body. Don't read into the target too much. I think it is good for training purposes for those that carry for self-defense purposes, but that's kind of another talking point for another video. I'll probably discuss that when I go over the review of this target itself. But basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to aim for the 10 ring here, and obviously without the laser, I'm just going to use the sights to get a sight alignment and sight picture. And I'm going to turn the laser on. You're going to have to trust me on this one. There's really no way for me to show you, short of actually putting the sight picture up in front of the camera. But I'm going to aim for this area right here and then turn the laser on just to show you how, you know, accurate basically the zero is. You know, you just saw that I took the lasering light off and mounted it back on. I've made no adjustments. You know, I'm not here to lie to you about this kind of stuff. I wouldn't be reviewing it if I didn't think it was a good light. So let's do that right now. Jam, stop eating stuff. Got the sheepdog, my border collie, down here with me while I'm making some videos. She's eating a leaf off the ground right now. Stop it, Jem. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to aim for the 10 ring, and with just the front and rear sight, I'm going to get a sight picture, and then I'm going to turn on the laser just to show you that the zero does hold even after switching the gun on, switching the sight off of the gun. Standing at about 15 feet right now. I'm actually behind the target. So I've got an unloaded firearm and I'm pointing it at the target right now. And my sight alignment right now is right below the 10. So when I turn the laser on, my point of impact should be right below that 10. And there it is. So you can see, obviously, once you have the laser zeroed based on the sights of your gun, obviously depending on what distance you put it at, it may change in regards to point of impact of the actual bullet, because there is bullet drop you have to account for. But really with a handgun, that's going to be longer distances than you're probably going to have to shoot in self-defense. But you know, you can see here that even after taking the sight off and placing it back on the gun, the zero still held true based on where I've previously set it at. Okay, so I've simulated a low light situation basically by just turning off the lights in the garage here. You know, it's not that dark, but with the camera that I have, I'm not going to be able to give you a true total darkness representation, just because from going to total darkness and then turning the light on, the camera just can't handle it and it takes it 10 seconds to focus. So I'm just going to show you right now, first with the laser. You can see that right now, obviously. Wherever I'm aiming it is where it goes. The added weight onto the gun is really nothing on there. Again, it's under 5 ounces. You know, maybe some other people may have an issue with that. I do not. You know, it doesn't really affect my ability to hold the gun steady here. I'll switch it back onto the laser just so you can see. Now I'm going to show you the laser and flashlight here. Probably may not be able to see the laser because the flashlight is so bright. I was hoping against the black that you would still be able to tell. You can kind of see it. Move it over. Definitely can't see it against the white wall. When I aim it on some of the darker sections, probably can see it just slightly, but it is there. Obviously, to the human eye, it's very visible just because of the camera. Again, not picking up everything. It is a little bit darker, but it's definitely there, and it's definitely easy to see if you are looking at it in a low light setting. So you can see there, from darkness, this light comes out pretty bright. I'm going to show you now with the TLR-1S on my AR how bright that is. This is just as bright. So, shooting the Springfield XD 45 compact, I have a Streamlight TLR-2 mounted on it. This is the gun I keep in my nightstand for any bump in the night. Obviously that tells you something right there about what I think about the gun. If my life's in danger, this is probably the gun I'm reaching for. I wanted to test the TLR-2 today for you. We're going to do it here before the sun comes out. We got a little shade right now. So I'm going to be shooting at this target right now. It's about, I'd say 12 yards away, which is pretty far. Obviously for home defense, you know, your shot's going to be within probably 10 feet. But just to demonstrate the laser for you, you know, you're going to show you the accuracy. Okay, so in those last two sections, I showed you just how strong the light's capabilities are at night, and I also showed you some shooting during the day with a laser. As I said before, it can be seen. Obviously, if you're in a really bright situation, it will be harder, especially at longer distances. But close range, even in the sunlight, we were in a little bit of shade, but even in total sunlight, you can still make that laser out. So definitely bright at night though. That laser is visible really far away. I've shined it in my backyard, just the laser itself, and it can go at least 75 yards. Obviously, maybe not be taking that shot with a pistol, but it has the ability to do so, and I've seen some other reviews and also heard of some other people using that laser in a low light setting and being able to get it to point of impact at really far distances. So definitely something for you to consider. Okay, last talking point I really wanted to hit on here, which I really feel is important in regard to weapon-mounted lights, is the fact, well, there are a lot of people, to be honest, that think that weapon-mounted lights put you at a disadvantage in a situation where there's an intruder in your home or you have to defend yourself with a weapon-mounted light. And their belief is that the origin of the light is going to give away your position. Hence, they will be able to fire at you before you can defend yourself. I really disagree with that, and I would say that those people should go and sit in a room with total darkness for 20 to 30 minutes and let their eyes adjust to a low light setting. and then see just how bright 135 lumen light is, and see if their eyes can adjust fast enough to figure out where you are before you can defend yourself with a shot and get a sight picture before they can hit you. I am going to take that bet 999 times out of 1,000 that the person with the weapon mounted light in an extreme low light situation is going to get the drop on somebody without a light, just sitting in the darkness. Just my personal opinion, but you know, humans' eyes are not designed to function well at night. We can get by, but in a really dark situation, it's hard to see at night. And to go from such a low level of light to a high intensity light, the human eyes just are going to dilate in a way that is going to make it really hard for that person to figure out exactly where you are. And basically, you know, you have to say it, get a shot off at you before you can shoot them. If it's a life or death situation, I really don't think that someone who's been in complete darkness is going to be able to react to that intense light in a time period that you wouldn't be able to fire at them first. That's just what we're talking about, though. This is a weapon mounted light. You know, this is something used for self-defense. You've got to seriously consider, if you have to defend yourself, are you going to be able to? So I don't think that's something ridiculous to talk about. That being said, obviously, you know, you need to be smart with the light. You probably wouldn't want to turn the light on if you have a larger home, or if the light is going to give away your position. I hate to sound so tactical, but if it's going to give away where you are before you're in a position to engage that threat, then yeah, you know, you don't want to turn it on right away, because they're going to know you're there. But if it's a situation where you're in your bedroom and they're out in their hallway, you open your door and pop that light on, you know, I really don't think the bad guy's going to be able to get a jump on you. Just my 2 cents. This is No More Op4, guys, coming at you with a review of Streamlight's TLR-2, awesome weapon-mounted laser and flashlight combination. Definitely recommend checking it out. It's absolutely an approved product by me. If you have any questions, or if you want to see something specific, as always, shoot me a PM right on my channel page, whatever you want to do. nomorop4@gmail.com. Just a really great product, guys. I'm out of here. As always, stay safe. Peace.